Making movies is hard, soul-crushingly hard. The amount of effort it takes to finish a film is gargantuan. So much so that even completing an objectively bad film is a miracle. I think it's important to share the experiences of the process, and even more so, how it affects those involved, warts and all. Maybe this film will help spare someone else the heartbreak of filmmaking.
This is Documentary Sucks, Camera B.
You're gonna see so much snot. It's gonna be so gross. Like, my nose runs like crazy when I cry. My name is Micah Tapua. I was the UPM assistant director and producer, along with the assistant camera for Graduation Sucks.
I'm Annabelle. I got to work on being behind the scenes on Graduation Sucks.
My name is Jenica, and I played Violet in Graduation Sucks.
Okay, so my name is Rachel, and I played Bunny.
My name is Ephraim. I was the cinematographer, stunt coordinator, editor, VFX, color, just help her.
My name is Will, and I was a producer on Graduation Sucks, and I work as a teacher at East Hollywood High School. East Hollywood High School is rad. We're a small charter school in Salt Lake City, Utah that specializes in filmmaking. The students throughout 1 year will make tons of short films on their own, independently, in classes. But really, I think East Hollywood's different from other schools because of the acceptance that teenagers have for each other.
I don't remember who started this term, but a lot of people like to call it the unicorn school because there's only one like it. There's nothing else like this school ever. There never will be.
It's a great place. It's a place where you can come and feel actually, accepted and cared about.
Yeah, it's just a great place to go if you want to find who you are.
The teachers here are a lot more understanding and amazing and do care about their students.
The people at East Hollywood make East Hollywood, East Hollywood.
Here at East Hollywood High School, we've made lots of cool movies.
Every other year, the school does a huge film that the whole school kind of collaborates on.
People have to audition for it, they have to be interviewed, they have to get reels together.
We as teachers will be directors and producers on it so that mirrors what it's like to actually work on a professional movie set out in the industry. We can share that experience and they can get a sense of what that's like. The outcome, these films compete in film festivals all around, and they compete with professionally made movies, and they're great films. We want it to be something that they can carry with them forever, both the experience that they had, but then also as a portfolio piece. Some of our past projects have been Much Ado About Nothing, a Shakespeare adaptation, feature-length movie. Paradise High, which is like a 2-hour-long web series. Step Larpers, The Benevolent Boys, Worst Prom Ever, and we're working on Graduation Sucks right now. Spencer Holt is the director of the short film Graduation Sucks. He's also a co-teacher in the film department at East Hollywood High School.
Spencer Holt is one of my best friends. He shaped me as a person and in film. He makes movies, they're real good. Sometimes they're a bit cursed.
He's also just a good listener. He's just a really sweet guy who cares a lot about everyone, and sometimes that's a bad thing because he doesn't care enough about himself.
So I met Spencer after high school. We both were, we went to film school in college, and that's where we met. And we were friends since then. We worked on projects, shared movies. We worked on this cool movie called Welcome Aboard. And then we worked on one of his movies called Poker Room. He had a really wonderful sketch comedy show that lasted a couple of seasons. I was in an episode of that too. There has to be more. Oh, The Benevolent Boys, yeah. 10 years prior, I had written a script and wanted to get it made while I was in college, and it didn't work out then, but we did shoot one scene, and Spencer was in that. I know post-college, he made valiant attempts, and things fell apart. Things fell through.
He's been through a lot of personal things that definitely kind of broke his dreams a bit.
I know there was a feature film that he wanted to make, and I was even helping with that, and that was really exciting. And a lot of stuff happened that brought that down.
Have you heard about Spencer's curse?
No, I actually have not.
No.
Yes, I have heard about it. But I didn't hear about it until just a little bit ago.
I've heard about Spencer's curse, yeah. Spencer shared with me his curse.
That was one of the first memories that was installed in my brain of Spencer. My very first term here, I had Spencer for Film Fundamentals, And the very last day, he told us about his curse.
So Spencer's curse is that anytime he's tried to make a film, stuff just gets in the way. Tons of weird stuff just comes up, and if it isn't one problem, it's another problem. And the movies don't end up panning out. They don't get made.
Do you think that Spencer's cursed?
Do I think he's cursed? Nah, I don't think so. Okay. I really don't think he's cursed, but I know about the curse, and it's always kind of fun to talk about. I mean, it's a sad curse, but it's fun to talk about. It's sort of a conspiracy theory kind of sense, but I don't think he's cursed. I think he's had a run of bad luck, but I know he's going to make some cool stuff down the line.
Marker. Oh, that chorus. Beautiful. My name is Spencer Holt. I'm a teacher here at East Hollywood High School, and I'm the writer-director of Graduation Sucks. All right, we were a little burpy. Yeah, it's going to be weird to see the journey from, like, I don't know, like straight-laced, clean-cut look to whatever this is. All right. This all started nearly 3 years ago when I got hired as a film teacher. During film club, I asked students what they'd want to see in the next school-wide film project.
I think that by the end, the board had like probably 20 or so just general genre ideas for the film. I remember one was apocalypse,
Cults,
lesbian,
like has fight scenes and is gay.
very gay, very lesbian,
They said gay a lot.
and he very much took a good amount of those and combined them. It was very ambitious.
A lot of this made it to the finished script, but the core concept of the film came from the fear of letting go. Our school is a safe haven for students who may not fit in other places, and I saw real reluctance in many of the seniors as they approached graduating. It was just as hard for me to think of saying goodbye as they'd become such an important part of my day-to-day. Hence the title, Graduation Sucks.
When I first read the script, I remember thinking, this is a lot, but this is so cool.
I really enjoyed it. I remember like the first thought that I had was that I need to work on this and I need to make this happen.
First saw the page length, I was like, nah, not gonna happen. And then I read it, just the first draft, I'm like, dang it. It has to happen, because it was so good.
That was throughout an entire school year, writing and getting feedback and rewriting. The next year, we started to actually put things in motion. Before we could start planning, we needed cast and crew. We put together a commercial to drum up attention from the student body.
It was a nice little peek into the film. Obviously, we didn't have the actors or like any of the crew. It was just me, Micah, Spencer, and Will.
So we had our own like little weird bubble of pre-production before pre-production.
We had made the shot list that day, and it was very scary. But I think it turned out pretty good.
You know, we're amazing actors, but we're not high school girls.
And like I saw the commercial, I'm just like, I really have to try out for this. When the like sign-up sheet came out, I was like so on that.
And I was like, I don't even want to do it. I don't want to try out for that. There's not even a role for me. When I saw Bunny, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe I will try out.
We do our darndest to make the best choice to match up the right person with the right job.
Once we decided who would be in the cast and crew, there's still more work before pre-production really started. We put together another commercial, this time to raise funds for the film. That was essentially 2 short films made before we even started the class. It was a lot of work, but it paid off in the end, and we raised well over our budget. Then we actually started the class. We had 12 weeks to work on pre-production, with all the production happening over the first couple weeks of summer. Plenty of time to get things done. A couple of members of the class were tasked with the focus of behind the scenes, standard story of how a movie gets made, all done at a high school level.
I thought everything was gonna go pretty well, to be honest. And even if something did happen, I know that we did have a great team to pull it all together.
From our first day of filming behind the scenes, we were in the shadow of the coronavirus.
Tonight, we know Utah's 5 positive cases of coronavirus were not a result of community spread, and Utah's political leaders are taking steps to try to keep that from happening.
We're not making these decisions today because things are really bad. We're making these decisions today to make sure that things don't get really bad.
Just tell me, Will.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty scary about the coronavirus.
Oh, man. Yes.
How are you feeling about how this might affect production?
Wow, I guess this is something we need to talk about.
Micah, how are you feeling about this recent corona scare?
Okay, I'll let Mars know.
That is not what it's called.
I want
Wait, what did you
cry.
How are you feeling about how the coronavirus might affect production?
I'm terrified.
First of all, people are more important than movies. That's number one.
Human life comes first before movie making, but it's still stressful times.
Okay, I'm just hoping that we don't have to take time off, because then that'll set us back a lot, which would be bad.
It's hard to make a movie when everyone is quarantined or everyone is sent home. So if we have to shut down school, or if we have to delay production, all that, it just causes problems. And hopefully nothing insurmountable.
I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to say we're going to stay healthy. By the time we shoot, the world's going to be getting back on its feet.
And if this is the last footage we shoot for the documentary before, in case school gets canceled on Monday, is there any parting words you'd like to say?
If it does get shut down, I think that we're lucky because our production class, this pre-production class, the students are all very dedicated, and I think we can still get work done in spite of it. I think it's not going to set us back as much as we might think it will. So cool. I believe we're going to do good work.
Today marked the start of the 2-week soft closure of Utah's public schools as ordered by Governor Gary Herbert to combat the spread of coronavirus.
Moving online was a really terrifying proposition for everyone involved.
In the moment, I was like, it'll be fine. It's fine. But by the time I left the school and was heading home, I was freaking out because I was like, oh no.
I was on Front Runner, and I sobbed on a train in front of a bunch of people. Everyone was staring at me, and it was really bad, and I didn't calm down for hours.
I asked myself, is Spencer's curse real? And has it elevated to the point of a global pandemic putting a kibosh on his movie? It's not real. Is it real, though? I don't know.
Going into this, teachers were given 2 days of prep to come up with a way to teach entirely online. It was terrifying and hectic. Teaching film online is one thing, but preparing to make one is another. I put so much work into those first 3 days of online school, trying to cater to each department. Too much work, probably, but I wanted this movie to happen in spite of the setback. Then, on the morning of our very first day of online school, there was a 5.7 magnitude earthquake.
Jiminy Jillikers, I was jolted awake by an earthquake.
I literally woke up that morning and I saw my TV shaking.
I just thought, this is it. The world has come to an end. Yeah, knocked things down in the school building, cracked the windows. All those aftershocks throughout the day were terrifying. It was a scary day. I'm thinking all of this hindsighty ways, but boy, what a strong curse that is. In hindsight, I'm like, no curse. But you know what? Maybe there is a curse. I mean, we had an earthquake. There was an earthquake.
Spring break also wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Every single day of spring break, I was crying one way or another.
Oh, it was really lonely and stressful.
It sucked.
Will and I held a webinar on the first day of the break to catch everyone up on what was to come.
All right, we are now recording. There will be a record of this for time and eternity. Anyone got any big spring break travel plans? I say we maybe just kind of open it up to a couple questions.
You guys can ask anything. Bear in mind that some answers we won't have.
So, are we coming back next week, or have they been nope, you're still staying at home?
So next week we are still staying at home. It was basically for the foreseeable future. There's not good answers. I got that email and had a little bit of panic. I went and I just started crying because I am stressed out about it and I don't know what it means for a lot of things. We just don't know the future. We don't know if this is going to last through the end of the year or if we are going to be able to come back at some point or not. We're just kind of taking it 2 weeks at a time.
What should have been a time to relax became a hellish week of prep. I was at the school every single day, stressing out of my mind, trying to adapt for an unknowable future.
It sucked. We needed to figure out how to become an online school. And we had not been trained or prepared for any of that. And we didn't get time to do that other than our spring break. So there was that was robbed of us. So yeah, probably 30, 40, 50 hours were put in over the break, at least, to get school ready. Ay, ay, ay. Those are sad times.
I worked hard to create assignments that would be engaging and relevant, putting in the extra work to try and make them entertaining as well. Will and I even filmed some video introductions to some of them.
Hey, you just reading by yourself there?
Oh, hey. How's it going? Hey, yeah, just living that quarantine life.
Yep. Just at our quiet school. How's your quarantine going?
Hope you guys are doing well. We didn't prepare this part.
No.
So one of the assignments that we're going to be working on with our behind-the-scenes crew is having each of you record some of your thoughts on how this is all going.
When people finally watch Graduation Sucks years down the road, they won't realize that it was made during such a tumultuous time in the nation and in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to preserve that in the behind-the-scenes documentary.
Exactly. In fact, since we have the magic of editing, why don't we just show all those clips right now?
This is a self-interview, take 4, I think. Hello. As you probably already know, we are in a pandemic, and because of that, school has been shut down. Not a fun time.
I really miss school, and I miss everybody there.
We're not supposed to get back into school until May 1st. I'm pretty sure that's the date. So we still have a very long time to go. And we don't even know if that's the official date that we're going to get back into school. So
One of my biggest fears is that, we're not going to be able to go back to school.
It's really, really lonely. Really gut-wrenchingly lonely.
It's really hard working on a movie where you can't do test shots and you can't see the director, you can't do physical meetings, you can't do anything.
In order for us to do our massive job that we have been given, we really need to create this environment where we can all work together and be productive and make art. But when you're doing everything online, it's really, really hard to replicate that.
It's harder to get your ideas across and to collaborate on one project and everyone making sure they're on the same page.
I was always told as a kid that I was going to grow up during a time of huge historical change, and everyone's yeah, it's going to be space travel. We're going to go to Mars and the moon and whatever. But instead, we get a pandemic, and we just have to sit here and wait for it to be over. Because if we don't sit here, then we have to sit here for longer.
This is a really hard time for everyone, and everyone's dealing with it differently.
insanity is definitely starting to set in. I've been playing with fire a lot. Hey baby, come here often. I'm sad. I want to see my friends and my teachers and all of them.
I like to believe that we are going to be able to push through this, and we're going to be able to make the film, and we're going to be able to see people we care about again, and life's going to go back to normal, and everything's going to be okay again. I like to believe that, but who knows as of right now.
I even started filming my own video diaries out of solidarity to help with the behind the scenes. I'm here at school on a Saturday. It is supposed to be spring break, but that's not happening. So I figured I'd just come to work with just pajamas because who cares? It doesn't. Nothing matters. This has been really tough. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted this to be fun. Shot a bunch of B-roll of me walking through just the empty hallways to make it look like the end of the world. But the fact that it feels like it's the end of the world is it's a little too real. I had a lot more I was going to say, but honestly, this is kind of hard right now. So I'm going to try again later. Will McAllister, my fellow teacher and producer, also started documenting his experience.
Oh dear.
Hi.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just taking a little break. Just taking a little break from doing the work on my online school stuff.
Yeah, that was the last time that Will recorded a video diary. Honestly, moving online made behind the scenes a nightmare for our crew.
I want to move on over now to our behind the scenes department. I noticed, I think, Jackson, are you joining us? I didn't see Annabelle, but...
Yeah, I'm here. Me and Annabelle had a bit of a hard time adjusting to doing behind the scenes stuff from home.
Everyone's stressed out and not having a good time, so obviously it's going to be hard to get people to do the assignments, but on top of that, unfortunately our BTS crew, they probably didn't want to deal with a film on top of their personal issues that they were going through.
One thing that Spencer and I were always clear about with the students is that their health and well-being was way more important than getting this movie made.
Something had to change.
Spencer and I both felt strongly that a behind-the-scenes documentary needed to happen. The world was impacted massively by this, and we were in the middle of already shooting a documentary, and we had to keep going. All of us felt like it was really important. So we had to come up with a solution to carry on.
So we just sat down and had a long conversation and eventually came to the conclusion that it'd be best to kind of follow Spencer's journey.
I'd be kind of acting as writer and director.
I feel like that's the only option we have and the best option we have. You are probably experiencing so much craziness because you're managing all of us. So I feel like it'd be interesting to follow your journey through this.
I second what Micah said.
It's very much his film. It's a collective of a lot of people's film, but this is Spencer's baby.
He's had this curse that's been following him for so long, and he's the director of this film. So what better person to carry on the interviews and sort of the storyline in the behind the scenes than Spencer? And so that was our decision in our shift that we made.
Just to pull back a little bit, at this point in the documentary, we're gonna reveal the fact that I'm the one making this movie. It's not just a movie about Spencer, it's a movie about Spencer, made by Spencer. And I've talked to you a little bit about it. And those fears that I have of not wanting to seem indulgent or narcissistic. I'm real anxious about that.
Yeah.
But I still question it, and I still wonder if I'm doing the right thing.
Well, I think you are. You're a very genuine person. I have no doubt that people watching this documentary, even if they've never met you, will get that sense. 0% of it is because you want to draw attention to yourself, or you have a this, you want it to be all about you. Not at all. It's not that at all. And I think people watching it, people watching it are going to be, I think they're going to relate to to the story of a man who was trying to make a movie with a bunch of awesome teenagers during a pandemic, but also a man who was haunted by, gee whiz, what? Like almost a couple of decades of bad luck as far as making films. And you're a filmmaker. Since your teenage years, you've just had this passion and drive to tell stories and make movies. And so I think this is a cool and an important thing for you to do.
What do you think?
Well, my biggest problem is that I'm not in it enough.
Yeah, there is the little snippet, right?
Sure.
Little bit.
Sure.
It started out as like the student production. Now it's this. Like, I mean, I've asked Will this a bunch of times, and I'm getting outside opinions. But do you think it's like the right choice to like move it this direction?
I think if you're questioning yourself so much, then why are you doing this? Why do you keep going?
It's a way for me to, I mean, it's not therapy, but it's a way for me to work through things that I've had a hard time working through.
Yeah, I can see that. I think there's a lot of unresolved things that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happened that you're discussing, or you're kind of skirting around it so far.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're going to discuss it later, but
are you talking about like curse stuff?
Yeah.
There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I've kind of been avoiding the subject. So for a long time, I felt like I was cursed. Like every time I tried to make a movie, there was problems that would come up. So like insurmountable problems, like problems where the picture would fall apart, where we wouldn't be able to make it. And it started back in college with a lot of my projects, and some examples being things like us filming outside in the middle of the night, hiked in, we've got all our equipment, everything, and we get there and our main actor doesn't show up. So we improvise and we think, well, it's a short, there's not that many shots, I'll just jump in. And then it started to rain a little bit. And then it started raining harder. We weren't able to keep our, we had lights and generators and stuff, and it started to get a little dangerous, so we had to hike out. Part of that hike was through a park. As we were walking through this torrential downpour, the sprinklers turned on, so we were not only getting rained on, but the sprinklers were going. There's other examples, whether it's like police coming to stop us from shooting, or props not getting done in the way that they were supposed to, or whatever.
About 10 years ago, my good friend and producer Eric Anderson and I wrote out an entire feature film inspired by our shitty experiences.
So it was a movie that Eric and I were making about a director by the name of Spencer, who was cursed, and every project that he worked on fell apart. It had immense problems.
This was like our first real project, a found footage horror film complete with giant monster. We hired someone to make a practical creature. We filmed a ton of test shots.
Damn. So we have to drive fast. Whitpan! There's definitely something behind us.
We even started filming one of the purposely bad movies within the movie. It was like our dreams were actually coming into reality.
So we decided to make it. Worked with Will McAllister to film at his cabin. I flew out to California. We hired a bunch of actors. We flew them all out to Utah, and that's when the problem started happening. They got cease and desist from the Actors Guild saying, don't act in this. That the project wasn't supposed to actually happen because of some of the way that our paperwork was filed. Our investor dropped out, and the day we were supposed to shoot was me
driving all of the actors back to the airport sobbing. Perhaps probably was tempting fate to make a movie about a film director who was cursed to not be able to make movies. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I didn't make movies for a long, long time after that. In fact, the movie that we're making now is really the first big thing that I've done. Everything else has been kind of small potatoes here and there, working on little projects. But I was excited to get back into it. And then quarantine and earthquakes and everything else starts to make me feel like I'm just not supposed to make movies. Which sucks, because I really like doing it. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the movie that I wanted to make with all of the setbacks. I don't know if we're going to be able to make a movie at all. Part of me is terrified of that fact. To call myself cursed is kind of silly, right?
The idea of pushing forward with the movie was something I was very outwardly vocal about during all this, trying to be a cheerleader for the project, keep the students invested. But deep down there was this nagging that kept eating away at me that things could only get worse. I pushed back these fears with the determination to finish the project. It wasn't about me, this was for my students. We kept taking everything a couple weeks at a time, still on standby to return to school. It wasn't until I started to work from home that the pandemic started to feel like it just wouldn't end.
So this is where I've been working lately. This is my office down in my basement. Big thanks to my wife, Marquis, for helping set this up, making it so I have a place to work and get things done. By the way, I'm wearing a nice shirt, but I'm still wearing sweatpants. So that's what you get when you work from home. Let's talk about quarantine and the movie and all that. So my office, it's pretty messy right now. I'm sure there will be some like B-roll right now where you see like stacks of like papers and Legos that I've been playing with. In fact, we'd use some Legos to make, I built a little miniature dolly and set so that we could do some test shots. So the class is going pretty well. There's still some people that are like missing or not there, or not signing in or doing stuff, but that's understandable. Like right now, life is in the way of everything else. And so I can't imagine some of the struggles that my students are dealing with. I mean, I know what I'm dealing with, and so I know it's got to be hard and difficult.
Oh boy, teaching online, especially that when we were just thrown into it.
Online classes were awful, just so bad.
It's very hard to be motivated when you're sitting in your room. You can just watch TV, you can plug in your phone at any time and just sit on your phone. There's not really any obligations, and I think that was something that was super hard for me.
So we lost a lot of involvement from our students, and it's so hard to teach when you can't reach them, you can't talk to them, you can't see what's going on in their lives. It's causing them to not get their work in.
It's hard because there's things that would be so much easier in the classroom and would take a fraction of the time. But like, we can't do that. I feel pretty shitty that I'm not able to offer the best education right now.
I felt like I was going nuts.
It's weird. There's no separation of school and home. Like it's all the same, work and play.
It really messed with my sleep schedule.
I feel like I'm always working. I think some of the students know that I'll end up responding to emails or grades at like 2 a.m. sometimes.
I couldn't sleep unless I had all the work ready for the next day ready. And so sometimes I was going to bed at 4 or something in the morning. So I was doing more than full-time load, but I was doing it at night.
So it's not good.
Like aside from all the emotional strain and just the burnout that came from it, I'm also not very technically savvy. just figuring out how to use my laptop and do meetings at home was tricky enough. And then there was one day where Spencer is notorious for eating noodles. He loves them. He loves his noodles. And I was so proud that I had cooked up a thing of noodles, and I wanted to show it to Spencer, because every day Spencer would email me a picture of his noodles. And so I lead it, you know, like you're the little webcam, and I'm leading it towards the webcam so people can see it, and it spills all over the keyboard. Like, why didn't I think that through ahead of time, that would happen, that gravity is a thing? I don't know. But we were in the middle of a meeting. We had a staff meeting a little later, and then it was my only like source of communicating with the students, so I had to run it to get fixed. I missed all the rest of the meetings for like the rest of the day.
So Will is going to be joining us as well, but as of right now, he spilled something again. He said that he had lotion on his hands because his hands were dry.
My hands were so dry because I was sanitizing them every 4 seconds because of this pandemic. And then I put a bunch of lotion on because they were so dry. And then I grabbed a completely full soft drink. I had not even had a sip. And it was open, and it went...
I guess it just went everywhere.
Yesterday I spilled noodles on me. Today I spilled soda everywhere. I'm not careful with this this whole eating thing. It's difficult, guys.
Yeah. So teaching during the pandemic was hard on so many levels. So many levels.
I had my own difficulties adapting to the situation, most notably in balancing home life and work life.
Like, very talented. Oh, Bud, come here, what's up?
I didn't want the timer because I need to finish my things in times.
Oh, on Minecraft? Can we load up the other save? What if you log into mine? Have Mama log into Dad's account.
Okay.
Can you go ask her nice? Thanks, Bud.
I want to do cat.
You want to do a cat? Okay, we'll do a cat in a minute. That's really good. Okay, you gotta go upstairs now.
Yeah. Hi.
Honestly, that was the best part about working from home. Most of the work was really boring, especially the webinars. I started using filters a whole lot more to keep things fun.
What was that thing with the cat?
Yeah, that's my little guy, little cat. Just vibing, little guy, doing his thing. Hey, you guys want to see something cool? I'm Pickle Rick!
Oh no!
Some of them I was like, oh, okay, that's funny, that's kind of cringy, dope. But there were some that were like absolutely terrifying, and I don't want to think about them ever again.
Will and I worked tirelessly to keep things engaging during a time where everything was online, forced a lot of creative problem solving. Something as simple as a script read-through became a whole ordeal.
Really, with this first read-through, I want to see what you guys bring to the table. The stuff you guys did in the auditions was phenomenal. That's why we picked you guys. So we're going to be having you just go through and record all your stuff.
Leave her alone.
Brock takes off the backpack that Vi is still gripping. It falls by her side, heavy.
You're new here, so maybe you don't understand how things work.
He's interrupted by a forceful blow to the back.
Since students couldn't come to the school, Will and I put together an entire scene with just the two of us, him acting and me on camera.
So you can see we're starting with a medium 2-shot. This is Will playing Violet and Chris Pratt playing Alaris.
I'm serious. Watch me.
It actually worked surprisingly well. We even did location scouting entirely online.
We're going to do a walkthrough of our locations where I'll just go with my phone and walk to each of the locations and show you guys. So that's going to be, I think, really helpful for all the departments to get a better idea of sort of what we're thinking.
Pre-production was especially difficult for our art department. We do live draw-throughs, and students contributed some fantastic concept art, but that really wasn't enough.
Hi, my name is Mars Goodbar, and I'm the assistant to the art director for Graduation Sucks. I honestly don't know how we're going to work this out from home because this month we were supposed to start building props and designing sets and building those sets and testing things and building costumes. I really hope we get to figure something out. It's going to be hard to like coordinate that if we even can.
We just kept pushing forward in the face of all these obstacles. But as we neared production, it was clear things weren't improving. With the shoot dates only weeks away, we had to make a decision.
We are going to be pushing back our shooting dates. The game plan that we came up with is to push the production back into August. We want the best for you. We want you to be safe. We want you to be okay because we love you guys a lot.
We just want to make sure all of you understand that if this change means you have to step away, we love you. We know you've worked really, really hard. We won't think any less of you. We want you to take care of yourselves.
This last week we lost one of our actors.
This is actually probably a good time to announce then that Tawny has left the production.
Tawny, if you ever watch this behind the scenes, I salute you.
Yeah, we still love you.
You're great. You were the perfect choice, but we completely understand what you need to do.
But I can't fault them. That's going to be a bit of a shift and a change, but I think we can roll with the punches and figure it out.
That was just the first of people dropping out. There were plenty more that came later. Rescheduling also meant I'd have less support as a teacher.
Will and Laura aren't going to be able to help manage things as much just because Laura is expecting a baby July 15th. So she'll be a mother. And Will is getting married. And that's insane. I'm so happy for both of them. It's just stressful because I love Spencer, but something that he does a lot is that he takes everything on and he has to now take on the role of 3 teachers. And that's very scary. I really hope that he reaches out for help.
I thought I'd already hit bottom, but I kept finding new lows. The false confidence of we can still do this grew even more hollow, and I started to break down a lot more.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. This class means a lot to me, so thanks. I miss you guys. I'm gonna sign off now.
Even working on this documentary seemed pointless.
I tried recording something partway through my bike ride. I thought, this is beautiful out here. I'm getting out in the open. I'm getting some fresh air. I'm still social distancing. I'm doing okay, but I just had to turn it off because I didn't know what to say.
I don't know. Never mind. This is stupid.
This whole documentary, I don't know what I'm doing or what the point is. And there's so many times I've tried to record myself that just end in me saying, this is stupid. I don't know. This is stupid. Who cares? This is stupid. I just turn it off and go cry or pout or whatever and just I'm just filming stuff and I don't know why. What am I gonna do with this? And I'm trying to be optimistic, but I just what's the point? I don't know what the point is. I feel defeated.
Strange to think about how alone I felt when there were so many others struggling with those same feelings.
I'll be honest. I'm really frustrated. I just really miss everyone. I want to go back to school. I want to go back to normal life again. I'm really done with this quarantine stuff. It's rough. It's really rough. It's so rough. I'm sad and frustrated and I just want to go back to normal. I just want to go back to normal. When I made that video, I think that's where like everything started to break, and I kind of like came to a realization that like I'm like scared. I'm terrified about what's gonna happen.
This is very reminiscent of
leading up to our big feature.
Yeah, I'm having a little PTSD right now, actually.
It's really, I mean, it's honestly, it's hard to watch through some of this stuff and see, I mean, to see that this is something that I've gone through now multiple times, in dealing with like that feeling of cursed and everything up against me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can't catch a break, right? Like, and you've been making movies with me longer than almost I would say anyone. Like you know better than anyone what that journey's been like, and how hard it's been, and how hard it is to kind of go through these moments. The thing that kept me going was working with those students, because they, I mean, you can see it. You can see how much they care. And like, if it wasn't for them, I would have given up.
When it was us, we did give up.
Yeah.
But you had a purpose. You had a reason to keep going.
Yeah. Those last few weeks came to an end, still stuck online, but there was at least some sense of accomplishment making it that far.
We're done for the year. It's weird. Very weird. Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
East Hollywood High School put together a socially distant drive-through graduation with teachers cheering on from the rooftop. Part of that ceremony was a video of our staff offering farewells that would play during the live stream. The other teachers were great about giving positive, uplifting advice, congratulating them on making it through these tough times.
Hello, graduates. I just wanted to congratulate you all on your accomplishment of getting through an unprecedented year, especially during this strange time that we're in.
Congratulations on making it through this one heck of a crazy year. I just wanted to leave.
I was not in a good place and didn't have good advice to offer.
I would say I feel like there's going to be a lot of people telling you that this sucks, but, and trying to spin it into something positive, whether it's, oh, look at all this time you can have to work on something creative, or the fact that this is the first time I've worn real pants in, I don't know, weeks. Like, but this does suck.
Graduation is always an especially difficult time for me. I have a really hard time letting go and saying goodbye, but this year I just felt so disconnected and numb. Then it was just over.
Is it 2 weeks into summer? I think 2 weeks into summer. My hair is ridiculous at this point, and I've got weird facial hair. Yeah, this has been a weird summer, a weird transition. It doesn't feel right. Will got married. That's nuts and weird to think about. But as a result, he's not really able to help much right now. He's honeymooning and spending time being a newlywed. So I've been doing a lot of this stuff myself. Been working with Katrina, our principal. In fact, we met the other day to go over all of that, talk about how we're gonna be able to clean things down, be able to take temperatures, wear masks, get permission slips, all that sort of stuff. I think later this week I'm gonna be interviewing and talking to someone in the industry who's been working on professional sets.
I don't know how to introduce myself. Besides that, I'm like everybody's bitch on set. So I'm Cade, and I work. I've worked on Yellowstone and 9 Days and a few other movies that have come out. local to Salt Lake with people who worked on sets like Hereditary and Midsummer. I did Real Housewives. I did a lot of camera stuff on that.
They shut things down for a while on pretty much everything you were involved with. Do you remember when things started to come back?
Things are only just now coming back.
What are your thoughts? Do you think that we should like soldier on and be careful, or that we should play it overly safe and just cancel? What would you do?
If we can manage going to grocery stores with like social distancing and face masks, I think we should be able to handle going to like work on set.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time. This has been helpful and honestly made me feel a little bit better about it all. So,
even though I lacked confidence in the project actually happening, others around me helped to convince me to keep pushing. Micah and Ephraim were the two constants in keeping things going. The three of us met at the school before anyone else and started to do some prep. We recorded another interview to document the progress.
Summer has sucked, honestly. It's been not fun being cramped in a house. Been leaning a little bit into that nihilism. That's been tough.
Like, if you can make up the outcome of this film, what would it be?
That's a good question. If I could, like, Magic World, make this movie exactly the way that I wanted it to, it would be done by now. I'm excited, but yeah, I'm tired. Like, it's a lot. We lost our director of photography, decided to drop out, just due to life reasons. And that makes sense. The world is very different than it was when we started this project. In fact, we only have one remaining person in our camera crew. That's Ephraim, who was our first AC, now our director of photography.
I'm Ephraim McClaws. I'm the cinematographer and stunt coordinator. As soon as I found out that I got the position, I was like, okay, I need to be the best that I can. And so I went through and I made a 3D storyboard of pretty much the entire film. And I also used that to help with stunt coordinator stuff because it gave me a chance to see how movements would feel.
Soon enough, our first day of in-person pre-production was here.
We're rolling.
All right, guys, quiet on the set. Oh my God, this is great. Okay, we're gonna get started.
There was a lot of adrenaline because everyone was like, yay, we get to see each other again and make the movie finally.
It was so refreshing, honestly, being able to just be around people again.
It felt great.
I keep feeling like this movie isn't gonna be made because of how horrible the world is. And the fact that you guys are here proves that we can do this.
As excited as we were, safety was still priority number one for us.
The movie is important. It's something that we're really excited and passionate about, but it's not more important than you guys.
Our crew was so respectful of those boundaries, and things finally got started.
We are in the deep throes of pre-production still. We've been doing pre-production forever, it feels like. And today we actually have hands-on pre-production. So we've been working on dolly tests, we've been working on action scenes, costume fittings, props, sets. Honestly, I think it's looking really cool. I went in today really anxious, really stressed out, and I'm coming out of it feeling great. I feel like we've got this, we're doing good work. Everyone's working their butts off. Everyone's been really productive and helpful and jumping in. Honestly, it feels good to actually be working with people in real life again.
It was really noticeable how big of an impact being together had on my mood.
I'm doing these behind the scenes little chats and stuff, and I don't start crying during them, which is great. I love that. So we've got our art has decorated Violet's locker. The hallways look really good. Our dolly tests have turned out really great. We just got a bunch of wood, so we're ready to start building our barricaded windows, so that's good. Honestly, just getting people here in the building has been a godsend. It's been miles and miles better.
Problems are inevitable on any film set, but I was always impressed with how our crew handled those moments.
We just hit a little bit of a hiccup with our gate that we were building. Basically the door, big doorway that they walk through at the end of the movie, it was exactly my height. So like you'd have to duck to go under it. So we're making some revisions there. We had an actor show up a little bit late for some costume fittings, and then we realized that we didn't have a costume for him. So we're doing a mad scramble today. We're getting stuff purchased. People have gone out and gotten some stuff. So that's awesome. We are starting to shoot tomorrow. So that's going to be scary, but I think it'll be fun. I'm not too worried about it. Whenever there's a problem, people are looking to fix it. So everything's been really good so far.
I was having a blast, and I was so excited to start filming. In the face of all these setbacks, I felt prepared.
I feel like I was as prepared as I could have been. I felt somewhat prepared, but I also had that like lingering fear that like I didn't do enough to make sure everything would be okay.
So Micah, how are you feeling about first day of filming so far?
I'm pretty excited. So far, pretty good. That was a chef kiss.
Thank you. Okay, let's do a quick walkthrough.
It's not even fair. It doesn't help that she's a senior and I'm a freshman. Plus she's got this cool air of mystery. And she's totally oblivious to the fact that I exist. No, I'm not going to cry. Again.
Do you think Spencer's gonna be good?
Don't tell him this, but I'm gonna say no. Just because he's been very stressed for the past 3 days, but I believe in him. He can do it. I love that man. It's just, he doesn't know how to take a break. We have lunch and he'll go work in his room, and I'm like, Spencer, eat lunch. That'd be good.
Ephraim, did you eat?
A couple bites of some sun chips.
Ephraim ate sun chips. I ate nothing. We were both just like, it's busy. Cut! That felt great. We're gonna go back to 2A. Can you look and see what was our last take?
So 13
So take 13. Why is the other one not? We shot 2 shots. One of our opening shots, one of our closing shots. That was a dolly shot, and it was so hard to get the focus just right. We rehearsed it, did it over and over. I think we did 10 or 12 takes or so. Can you go back to the other, like our first clips? And then we did playback and realized that it was playing in slow motion.
That's so weird.
And we had to start over and lost maybe 45 minutes to an hour or so. Why don't we're already set up for this shot. Let's do 15A. We'll get it in regular speed, then we'll go back and get 2A in regular speed. But we made a plan and dealt with what was going on and cut some stuff, made some new plans for the afternoon, and got all the coverage that we need. I'm being paranoid after our morning.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't sweat it, man. You're killing it. You are killing it. Seriously. Good, guys. Real good. Let's move on to our next shot. Okay, let's reset and just do that one more time.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer.
It's when Garfield.
We are wrapped on day 1. I think it went great, honestly. I think the shots look gorgeous. I don't feel like we were like compromising on anything. Like, I think day 1 was a success. It felt like we weren't gonna get it there in the beginning, but we really picked up the pace and did awesome. So I think the crew did fantastic. Really great work. People really stepped their game up. It was rad. So good work, guys. End of day 1.
That's what most of our days ended up like. Problems here and there, but nothing insurmountable. Being back on set felt amazing. It was really magical. Our first real hurdle during production was doing a whole choreographed fight scene.
I've done fight scenes in the past, and that's kind of what got me into doing film, was just being in my yard, just like, and just like throwing myself around and doing weird stuff. Actually, like doing it and like rehearsing with the actors was difficult at first, but I feel like everybody kind of got there eventually.
I was so scared because like I can hardly remember like, you know, dancing and stuff, and then I'm like, oh, fighting, this is going to be really hard. But like it was surprisingly a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, you know?
You know that in the end, people are watching out for you. There's stuff to catch you when you fall. If you really need to take a break, people will let you.
There was one other big change that the crew had to adapt to. I've got my face mask on because we've been here with people, but now people are in the back, so you can see the ridiculous facial hair that I have now. It's real good. So masks are actually like the perfect time to grow out facial hair. It's real good. The reactions were mixed, to say the least.
How do you feel about Spencer's mustache?
I hate it. It's disgusting. Get rid of it, Spencer. Come on.
Anyone that's hating, you know what? Let them hate because they don't understand the drip, Karen.
I don't know how to feel about it yet, you know? You don't see it that often. However, that also does kind of make the mustache kind of special.
It fuels me with untold emotions that equate mainly to pain.
I will be a little bit scared of him whenever he takes his mask off.
It's horrifying. It's like what I see in my nightmares every night.
What is your thoughts on Spencer's mustache?
You can't ask that. Spencer's right there. Disgusting.
Whoa!
That's not
Whoa!
You do not say that. That is a gift from God.
I did not mean to rile up the set.
Thanks for your comments about my mustache.
That if we stop too fast.
It only makes them stronger.
I think mustache is great.
I love it. I've always loved it. I don't know everybody else's haters, but I think it's cool. I think it's awesome.
So good. The mustache brings me much joy. It reminds me how much I want a mustache.
Honestly, I'm used to it now. It's all right.
Okay.
I can look at you.
Aside from the mustache controversy, things were going really smoothly.
When I finally returned, it was really cool to see that you guys were already this well-oiled machine. To come back was a joy. And you seemed happy, and the crew seemed happy. And that was such a beauty after months of only seeing each other through screens and dealing with a lot of difficulty and sadness and hardship. Nobody got sick from the entire shoot. Not a single COVID incident.
But like any film set, we did run into problems that weren't as immediately fixable.
Oh man, that day, it was genuinely a like kind of breaking point.
It was just no good. All the ideas that we were having were just not working at all.
It just spread throughout the entire crew because like I could tell that Spencer was like really upset, along with our DP, and like our actors weren't like really feeling it.
I felt the just overall like negative vibes that day.
Me, Spencer, and Will were like, hey, let's just take a break and let's talk just so we can figure out what the game plan is, because if we continue today, nothing's going to end up working.
It's not as strong as our other stuff.
Yeah.
I think our other stuff is stronger.
Which sucks because this is the
opening scene.
First scene.
Let's do like a 20-minute break because that'd be helpful for me just emotionally and physically. And I think we just hit over the hump, right? We're just over halfway. And I think now is where the filmmaking process is starting to feel like a marathon instead of a sprint. I think we can pull it together, is what I keep telling myself. So, cool. Let's take 20. Sound good?
And so we moved on to the stuff that we had shot tests of previously. We got that stuff, and that night, after pretty much everybody else left, we stayed in the classroom, and we just talked about it for a while, tried to figure stuff out. We started slowly getting a understanding of what each of us wanted from the scene.
Yeah, today. That was garbage. I think we made the right decision. We moved some stuff around and basically pushed our problem that we couldn't solve, and we're like, well, let's figure it out for Monday. We'll shoot it after the weekend. I'll say this, I'm
glad we have the weekend to take some space from it and come back to it stronger, fresher. So
I went away from that day really frustrated.
It is a little after 5 a.m. and I'm here at the school because I haven't been able to sleep. Just lying in bed, editing it over and over. So here we go. Gonna go in and edit. I gotta say that coming in this early, real spooky. Not my favorite.
I came away with a rough edit using some of the new test shots and the shots we liked, but more importantly, I came away with a plan of attack for our next shoot day.
I think it was great. Like, I think that the changes were made, and I think solutions were discovered that helped the movie be what you were hoping it was going to be.
It was really nice. Like, honestly, I feel like it went a lot smoother than the day before.
My biggest takeaway from the entire mess was less about being prepared and more about the way that I carried myself.
My mood soured, and I think that affected some of our performances because that stuff can kind of seep out.
And this is how it goes on every film set. Like, the higher up positions kind of dictate how the other positions work and how happy they are on set and how much they want to be working on stuff. And that definitely happened that day. Everybody was having trouble.
It totally messed with how I looked. And I'm so glad we redid it afterwards.
As I was interviewing our crew, I found I wasn't the only one who felt to blame for these problems.
I never felt like it was ever anyone to blame but myself, you know?
I felt like it was my fault because the cinematographer, they're there to make the visuals work.
Like, a lot of me felt like it was my fault because I wasn't able to prepare enough for what happened.
I feel bad because I feel like I let people down by not having the answers and by having a sour attitude.
Pretty much every person that I've asked this question has said the same thing, that they felt like it was their fault. I wish that I had been better prepared and a better leader and had a better mood, and that mood hadn't leaked out and affected the rest of the crew. But I don't want you to feel like any of that was ever your fault. I think you did amazing work.
If anything, though, it did a good job in preparing us for the real shit show to come, graduation day. Our last 2 days of filming were all focused on the very intense graduation ceremony scene. Everything was right down to the wire.
We are rolling into our last days here. This is going to be intense. It's going to be a lot.
Our art department is absolutely insane because they got so much done in such a short amount of time. And literally, the day we started filming graduation stuff, they were in the corner just, working on the set. And, I can't thank them enough for how hard they worked and how fast they worked. But unfortunately, because we had so much to do, certain things fell through. And when we finally started, setting up for the graduation stuff, we realized it's not going to work.
I don't know that I don't know if any of our graduation stuff is working.
Which was a huge issue because this is just our most emotional point in the film.
I feel like if this doesn't land, if it doesn't work, then it's I don't know, what are we doing?
And everything just wasn't working. It just felt like a stage performance.
Yeah, today's been shit. It's been bad.
Like before, we took a break and tried to lay out a new game plan.
I feel like all the head of departments got to a point where they just couldn't function anymore. And it wasn't because we didn't know what to do. It was literally because people stopped functioning as human beings because they were so stressed and upset about what they were going through. It was just me, Spencer, Will, and Ephraim, and we were just sitting in the studio talking to each other. And Ephraim was just laying on the ground sobbing. But I genuinely thought that this breaking point happened because of me.
A lot of it wasn't my fault, but it felt like it was my fault.
And all we could really do in the moment was just cry.
These students have no reason to feel bad about what's happening. They have no reason to blame themselves. And we've gone through a lot of processing of that. Like, we both blamed ourselves. I remember talking a couple of years ago and how we both just had all of this blame on ourselves for what happened.
Like, I watch this and I think, like, how many parallels there are, right? Like what we went through and what all the problems of everything, right? And I just think about what came after for us.
It felt like a death. It felt like I just lost that part of me. And my biggest regret through this whole thing was I wasn't more honest with you. I didn't know what to say. Sorry I f***ed up your life.
Like, for me, I was the same. I just felt like I'd taken you down with me. I have so much pain and regret from that time afterwards where we fell apart. Because I love you. Like, as a friend, as a collaborator, as a human being, you're just a really special person to me. And I'm sorry that things went the way that they did.
Me too. That part of us that died that day, 10 years ago, I think is trying to grow back.
Something really special and really magical about this project that helped me to come to a lot of realizations about myself, about how I feel about the curse and everything. And that was so important to me because of everything that I'd gone through, because of the past.
Do you feel like this is the second chance that you needed?
Yeah.
During that break on set, we made a lot of hard decisions on how to move forward and actually finish the film. There were a lot of cuts and compromises that would make the movie suffer, but it would at least get done.
I'm feeling extremely scared and stressed. I think that we'll be able to get it all. I'm just scared if it'll hold up to the expectations in my brain.
I was armed with the knowledge that I was lucky to be making a movie at all. Just getting this far was a miracle.
This entire process has been not the movie that's in expectations in my mind or in Ephraim's mind or anyone's.
I saw the end in sight and finally had the confidence to get it done. The curse.
Taking the break and just like stopping for the day helped a lot. And we came back and we were able to figure out like things that would work instead of what we were trying.
We had problems and we fixed them. Okay, we have a chance to get this done. But it really hurt my soul because I was very excited for some of that stuff that we were going to do. We were supposed to have our final fight scene inside of the graduation chamber, and that was the fight scene I was most excited for.
It's supposed to be this big like last push before she gets to her goal, and I thought it was really important to have that. And I felt like cutting that fight scene would like emotionally compromise the ending. So me and Ephraim really pushed for keeping that in.
Mike and Ephraim came to me asking to use a good portion of our last day to do reshoots and add back in an entire fight scene. I was torn between just trying to wrap things up and giving them the opportunity to try something new.
The thing that I think I'm running into right now is the conflict between director Spencer and teacher Spencer.
As a director, I wanted to play it safe and just get it done. As a teacher, I wanted to let my students experiment and try things.
Number one priority is getting this movie finished right now, when it comes down to the end.
And I didn't know what the right answer was.
ultimately decided on coming down on the side of teacher. Even if that meant that maybe the movie was being put at more risk because we were trying something. When I told them, like, yeah, let's do it, they did like a triple high five with Aiden.
It is a balance that we face as teachers when we make these advanced films, because we truly want to make something that can go up against other films and festivals, not just student films, but film festivals with other adult industry working filmmakers. But then there is that balance of also being a teacher. We have to do both, and it is tricky sometimes.
And then you're like, okay, fine. And I was like, yeah. We just got going. At that point, Spencer was kind of like, do it. Just do it. And so we were like, okay. And so I figured out the least amount of shots that we needed to get it and the fastest way that we could get it.
And it was awesome. I loved seeing that solution happen. It brought me so much joy. And there was like the day before there were tears, and then the next day there was laughter going through the building as things were working and people were having fun making this movie. And I think it ended on a very high note. It was so good.
It was about as perfect of an ending as I could have hoped for the shoot. The movie came out better for it, but more importantly, my students taking control was exactly what we needed in that moment. It's a memory that I'm going to hold on to fondly.
I think everybody says this when a production of any kind wraps up, is it was bittersweet.
You know, you wish you could just like relive it, you know, some of the good parts all over again.
It was a positive experience, and that was wonderful, because sometimes these big films can be a little too much, I think, and people can leave pretty sad from them and pretty disappointed. But I think people left this one joyful. Other than the sorrow of something cool ending, it's always bittersweet.
You miss the people because you create a family. It's like an entire new family. Everybody knows you as your character's name or like the role that you're doing. Everybody knows everybody, and you create friendships, and it's the best, but it's also so sad to let go.
I remember we had a rap party, and like I would refuse to stand in the room because I was like, no, it's not done. It's not the end. Like, yeah, I didn't want it to end.
Would you do it again, knowing what you know now?
Oh, 100%.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, I totally would.
Absolutely. I'd do it a million times over, and I'd do it worse than before, and I'd do it better than before.
With shooting wrapped, I started to think more about my curse.
Knowing what you know now, and in spite of everything that went wrong, do you think that Spencer, that myself, is cursed?
I believe that Spencer used to be cursed, but something about this school just helps people. It helps them with their personal problems. It helps them with work problems. It just helps people in general. And I think that it helped Spencer with his curse.
I think that the curse is something that has been trying to throw you off. Like it's been punching you over and over and over again, but it just wants to see how many hits you can take, you know? And I think it's finally given you just like, okay, I'll let you get a few punches in, you know?
You've broken the curse, my friend. Spencer Holt has broken the curse. He punched it in its face, and the curse's head exploded. It's gone now.
I genuinely know. Because here's the thing. It goes back to the idea of, like, everyone blaming themselves for something bad happening. And, like, I think that's very much just what it is with you. And, like, it's more a personal issue of not being able to accept that you can be good. And, like, unfortunately, we just live at a very terrible time. And, like, a lot of bad things have happened. But it's not, like, your fault that these things happened.
Do you believe in the curse?
I've never believed in the curse. Well, there was a little bit of time when we were dealing with the fallout. Had to think about it for a minute because I really did think self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. We wrote a script about a curse destroying a film. Mm-hmm. And then a curse destroyed our film. I genuinely thought that for a minute. And then I think I've been able to kind of work through that and kind of realize the mistakes that I've made and take ownership of some of the things that I've done. I don't think you're cursed.
That's what this movie has, I feel like, finally helped me to figure out. Like, it's been making Graduation Sucks. It's been making this documentary. It's been sitting here with you. This movie is an opportunity to close that door and move on.
Yeah.
And say goodbye to that chapter of our lives.
I think we need it, man.
I hate goodbyes, but saying goodbye to this thing that's haunted me for so long feels right. Saying it to my students was a lot harder.
You've been going through this for a few more years and gone through a few more graduations. Do you have any advice for how to let go and say goodbye?
It's a very aptly named movie. Graduation Sucks because it's the worst day of the school year. I hate it. Every year I hate it. I'm really bad at saying goodbye.
Thank you. Will you look to the camera and say goodbye for one last time?
Goodbye. But you aren't getting rid of me that easy.
Goodbye, East Hollywood, and Graduation Sucks, and Man Bears. Thank you for having me.
Is here? Goodbye.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. Thank you for my time here, and goodbye, East Hollywood. I really don't want to. Goodbye. I'm gonna miss you so much. I love you a lot, and I'm gonna miss you a lot.
I couldn't have made this movie without you. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Will you give one last goodbye to the camera?
Okay. What if I don't want to? Okay. Goodbye. I hate saying goodbyes. It's my least favorite thing in the whole world. I hate it so bad. See ya. Yeah, man. Let's give hugs. Ah, Schultz. We're both vaccinated. Yeah.
I love you. Thank you.
Working on that set with those students was such a magical and transformative experience. For the past year now, I've been working on post-production in this documentary, trying to find some sense of closure. Part of that connection to this project has been growing out my hair. It became a weird promise I made to myself that I wouldn't cut it until I had finished the project. During that time, I grew attached to it in the same way I did with the film itself. But it's finally time to do it. Almost exactly 2 years since my last cut. A fresh start and a new beginning. I can't wait to see what comes next. Goodbye to Graduation Sucks, and hello to whatever comes next.